What's up, guys? This is the Lucid podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the grinding mentality, social media, trying to basically be an influencer, artist,
Creator, or whatever.
content creator, anything that you're making your living essentially online or through a creative medium. It has a certain set of challenges. Really, all of them have a certain set of challenges that kind of coincide, especially the fact that marketing is a huge part of
of
that.
anything really.
It's turned into basically navigating social media, and it's kind of getting increasingly crazy just how people can blow up overnight the way that they do. And then some people grind all day and get discouraged, and then they could be just one post away from making it big.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, which I kind of think that way too, because if you say you want your whatever you're making, it could be anything, to get noticed and go somewhere, and you're probably sitting there like, wow, this isn't going anywhere. Maybe I should just stop. I have a very low chance of getting anywhere. Well, I always say, like, low chance is better than no chance, because if you give up and stop, then you literally have no chance of going anywhere at all. So you might as well just like keep going, even if it's in some like a smaller capacity. You might as well not stop whatever you're doing. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, so one example of the grind that I think is kind of like exemplary to what grinding really is and working hard and just pushing yourself is the music industry. So you have musicians like Snot, Young Lean, Little Peep, XXS Tentacion, Ski Mask, people that basically got started on the SoundCloud era, or like YouTube, and slowly just released good content and then got a fan base and then turned that into a career, like Suicide Boys. I mean, pretty much anyone that's in the underground scene right now, there's just so many people that worked really hard, ended up grinding, doing small shows here, small shows there, small tours, just engaging their fan base and continuously working and pretty much grinding their way into a fan base. And on the inverse of that, you have people that are industry plants, which basically is people that a major label discovers, usually discovers randomly, or they have talent agents kind of out and about, and sign the people and basically do huge media rollouts, make them release a really polished song that's like built to be catchy and basically get plays, and hope that kind of blows up and gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And that's probably pretty infuriating for someone who's really trying to make it in music. You're working really hard, you're putting your own money in making beats or buying beats, booking studio time, getting things mixed and mastered. It can end up being expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you have somebody who has all the connections, who pretty much doesn't have a budget, because the label just pays for whatever they need.
Yeah.
I mean that's hard to compete with. So people like Billie Eilish, Rory, who kind of fell off. You'll notice most industry plants kind of fall off because people really like authenticity nowadays. So as soon as there's like murmurs that someone is an industry plant, they usually fall off because people are like, well, how can I support a fake ass backstory? Is like people's mindset nowadays. It seems like people don't like that shit. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather just support someone who actually earned their way to where they are. I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
whole like mental thing.
and I think that there's a lot of merit to that. I mean, you want, because you know, a lot of times when you're supporting someone, I think music is more or less like in this scenario rather than like a content creator. But with music, usually it's extremely personal. So you
Yeah.
like usually with musicians, we know more about their lives than most content creators. I feel like.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, a content creator, you don't have to know anything about their life if you don't really want people to.
And musicians, it seems like we typically know about them, and that's just kind of the nature of music. Because you know, a lot of times music you're drawing from personal experience
Yeah,
and
yeah, most
being
a lot of
vulnerable,
the
and
time.
you know, not for every musician, but for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that goes with connecting with someone, and like, you know, that's kind of why artists that have basically worked their way out up from the dirt are more appreciated, and they build a connection and grow a fan base grows with them, you know,
Yeah.
and you can't really manufacture that artificially.
Yeah, I mean, people, you can. I don't know if you can really tell, but you can kind of tell when someone uh hasn't really worked for something, because I feel like if someone's objectively sounds almost, I know music's subjective, I'm talking about music, but if someone just sounds like bad generally and people just don't like them at all, and somehow they're just like racking in tons of uh you know listens or whatever, then it kind of makes me think like, how did this person even get to where they are? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like with a lot of industry plants, a lot of times even the music is good, but a lot of times it's subpar, and it's kind of like, okay, I see that this was clearly made for views, rather than, I mean, you want something to be a little bit raw, especially if it's an artist you've never heard of. I would think you want it to be raw, because then it's kind of like, you know, it adds that emotion, and it kind of adds a layer of lore to the music, you know. Whereas you're just
Yeah.
starting off with some polished bullshit. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It seems disingenuous,
Yeah, it
pretty
kind of
much every
does.
time.
Yeah.
So there is actually an industry plant that did grind pretty crazy, and his connections were actually from him being a successful YouTuber. Let me see what his name was.
Yeah, it kind of seems like um there's quite a few people now that have started on YouTube. Like, that's where they just started posting their stuff, and then all of a sudden they get bigger and move on to other things.
Yeah, there's this guy named Araya. Have you heard of him?
No, I've never heard of them.
He started off as one of those channels that ask women, like drunk women, questions on the street,
Oh.
and had over 1 million subscribers. Then ended up being in other people's videos, doing skits and, you know, different things here and there. And he just recently started releasing music, and, you know, released a single out of nowhere, and it went pretty big, and the song was horrible. But I wouldn't really necessarily call him an industry plant, like, now that I think about it, because you're not really an industry plant if you're someone like Jake Paul, Araya, you know, Corpse Husband, Social Repose. Those aren't really industry plants because they grinded somewhere else to
Yeah.
basically get to where they are in music.
Yeah,
So they didn't
they
just.
if you build a fan base somewhere and you go somewhere else, chances are they're gonna follow in some capacity. Like, that's kind of just how it
Yeah,
works.
that's kind of what we're hoping with this. I feel like
Yeah.
even, you know, we do a lot of other creative ventures, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
you hope one of your ventures it's
kind of.
successful. That way it can, kind of culminate into everything you're doing being successful. Because, you think if someone's supporting you, they probably appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
So, you would hope that would translate to
I mean,
people being invested in you, so they're vested in what you have
yeah,
going on.
exactly. If someone's interested in you as a person, some people don't really care what it is that you're what you're like, say you have like a side gig thing or something that's completely different from what your main thing that you build a fan base on. Even if someone doesn't care about whatever other thing you're doing, they're probably gonna follow you anyway, just because it's you. So that's like 100% how it works. Cause like, I mean, I've done it too. There's people I follow, like content creators that have like, art accounts and stuff like that, and music accounts and all this other stuff that's irrelevant to their channel, and I just follow them just because like I like them, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk the fact that, so obviously you are more than likely consuming this on YouTube, so you kind of get to see the I'm sure people see the grind with smaller channels. You start out and you might have a couple hundred subscribers, and that feels like a lot. Then you end up maybe getting a couple thousand. That feels like a lot. And it, as the engagement and the views and the subs kind of start rolling, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like someone who has 300,000 subscribers. I mean, imagine getting to talk to 300,000 people every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
It's a hell of a lot of people. Yeah.
To me, that's not a small channel. But then once
Not
you get
not at all.
to people in the millions,
Well, yeah, those guys
feels
are
like a small channel, and people are like, "You have a small channel," and they have like 400,000 subscribers, and it's like
that's not like that's not considered small in my eyes. Like small, I'd say is below like 10,000 or so. Like
yeah, even if you have 10,000 subscribers, I mean, there's a chance that you are making a living off of it.
yeah, I've seen some people that have pretty low amount of subs, like around that, maybe a higher, maybe like 30,000, and they've made they've been, I don't know about making a living necessarily, but it's been supporting them, like pretty well. So, which is surprising, honestly, but apparently that's how it is. But yeah, like I think, I don't know, I don't really, in terms of like YouTube and content creation, I don't really get discouraged by low view counts and all those analytics and all that stuff. I don't really get discouraged from that because I like doing it anyway, like to begin with. Even if no one watched anything ever, I would still probably do it just because I like doing it. And I think that's the mentality you have to have, because if you go into it and you're like, yeah, I want to blow up, you're gonna
doing
probably
it for
quit.
the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably gonna drop it pretty fast.
If you look at, YouTube as a whole, it really depends on your content, but making videos is a lot of work. I mean, you have to have a script, you have to have a plan, you have to record, you have to edit. It's not like it's an easy, streamlined process. It takes time, effort, and if you don't like what you're doing, I mean, you see with large creators that even make like a big fan base for them, and then pretty much give up a lot of revenue just because they're like, well, I'm trying something new because I'm tired of what I'm doing. And, to me, that makes a lot of sense. Like, if you get burnt out and you're making shit and you don't care about it, the quality is going to drop off, and you're probably going to lose your viewer base anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be making trash videos.
And you shouldn't, people put themselves in a box because they're like, oh, I saw this one thing got a lot of views this one time, so they make more of that one thing. Next thing you know, they don't make anything else, and then they want to switch topics or subjects, and they plummet. Their channel just dives because like they put themselves in that box, and that's really not a fun thing to be in.
Well, For some people, it does work out and they adapt, and I mean that's kind of just a
Yeah,
risk
some
that you
people it
take.
does.
But like,
Yeah, it is.
I'll give you an example of a creator that I used to watch a lot of his videos, but I haven't recently. But Tekking, and he now makes a lot of One Piece videos. But he started out doing anime review. He started out doing like game reviews, then anime reviews, and basically manga reviews. And his manga reviews, I can't remember what it was on originally. Bleach. I think he started out doing Bleach, and yeah, Bleach stopped. So he moved on to something
Yeah.
else, and he tried to do My Hero Academia manga review, and it just like did not work at all. And then he just kept trying, and eventually made like a One Piece video, and then it did well. Then he made 2 or 3 more One Piece videos, and he basically just found a niche, and then his already successful channel basically skyrocketed even more.
Right.
And I would say out of all the media to cover, One Piece is probably the best one.
Yeah.
Because you have 20 years of material.
Yeah, it's literally like infinite almost. So.
And it's not looking like it's gonna end anytime
So
soon.
that's a good one to just stick to forever. If you are gonna pick one and just stick to it forever, that's probably one of the best ones to do that with. But like, if that, I think that's how it is though. I think if you switch to something after doing something successful for a long time, it is gonna drop your performance, but I think it just takes a little bit of rebuilding. Like I think you can obviously you can make that work. We've seen we've seen YouTubers do that, but it's almost like not like starting over, but it's more work basically. But if you have the right mentality, you shouldn't mind having to work a little more, because if you got past the first 1K, then you can probably get past, switching your topic or subject to something else.
Yeah, I mean, once you have the groundwork, you probably know what you did, and unless you're like somebody who kind of was in a niche topic that just blew up, you're probably going to be able to recreate it to a certain extent. Now, I do have one.
Yeah.
I do have one question for you, I guess. What would you consider someone like Barely Sociable, who basically blew up overnight? And I don't know. Would you consider that grinding? I mean, he did make really high quality videos, so I think that kind of contributed.
He certainly, yeah, he made really, really good videos, and he certainly did have to grind a little, but he did get extremely lucky to some extent with his first few videos just absolutely exploding, like, and it was only like, I don't know, he was what, 5-10 videos in before he had like 500K or something crazy.
It might have even been less than that. I mean, he really kind of exploded out of nowhere. But I will give you this: he had amazingly high quality videos.
He did, yeah. Especially, it's almost like he didn't have to. It's like he learned this all before. Like before he.
Yeah, and we don't really know much about him. I don't recognize.
I don't know anything about him either.
He very well could have been somewhere else, a part of some other channel.
He could have been,
or maybe he was an editor for somebody.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's possible.
That
happens
is probably
a lot.
my favorite genre on YouTube. Is kind of like Mr. Ballin, Nexpo, Barely Social,
yeah, same.
OKI. Those guys, I mean, all of them are just fucking great.
Yeah, I just love that genre, and all those guys work so hard. Like you can tell, they're mostly their own boss for the most part. They don't really do like hiring editors and stuff like that, which is crazy because their videos are so high, like quality. It's nuts.
Well, maybe that is why. It's because curating every part of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So once you have that level of control, you can kind of make it what you want. And the fact is that they do more research than probably anyone.
Oh yeah, for sure. They probably spend hours and hours and hours doing that.
Especially like really all of them. OKI
Yeah, for
does
sure.
really in-depth stories and retailings. Mr. Ballin takes stories and will go through like a point of view for them, and basically will tell stories that some of the stories that he tells, I have already heard and read the stories and didn't know what he was talking about until he said the name, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
It sounded familiar, but
Yeah.
he's great at doing that. And of course, Nextro and Barely Sociable, do pretty
Pretty
nearly the same thing and do it fucking amazingly.
all those
So
guys, they all blew up pretty fast, and I think they pretty much deserved it. But you gotta admit they did get kind of lucky with some of those early videos blowing up as quick as they did. But I don't
yeah,
think that's a bad thing.
but also I think you could tell that they've grinded really hard, and
Yeah, they
even the fact
definitely
that
did.
Nexpo can just drop one video every like month.
Yeah.
The fact is, he has long form videos that are like an hour and a half, sometimes more, and you can just tell the amount of work that he puts in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I mean, that's kind of the difference too. Is like the different types of grinding. Is you could be grinding and it is entirely just you're grinding on your craft rather than the marketing, but you're
Yeah.
so good at your craft that it markets itself. Where some people, might have good content, but they have to grind on social media. Go and post on Instagram, Facebook, other things. Try and make Discord. Try and build up community.
Yeah.
To basically get the ball rolling. Whereas, in that it seems like that genre specifically, once people hit, everyone's just like clamoring to them. And
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a Mr. Bali video comes out, I watch that shit. An OKI video comes out, I watch that. Same for the other two. Like
Yeah. I think Nexpo, like they were like in a line. Nexpo was like in, I don't know, maybe 4 years sounds like too much. Maybe 4 years ago, he started and blew up, and then the second wave was like Barely Sociable, and then recently, the third, like the wave after that would be Wendigoon, I think, because he absolutely exploded. Like it was insane.
But he did a lot of grinding as well. I mean, even his content style probably doesn't take that much editing. But here's the thing. You could tell he's worked very hard as well.
Yeah. He's also I think he's just good at talking. I mean, that sounds like an obvious given. Like, yeah, obviously. But
Yeah,
like,
he's a
really good at
guy.
that. Yeah. Like, I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think he really scripts that much. He probably bullet points, but he's really good at just talking, and he talks for a long time in front of the camera. So it's like, it's nuts. He's just really good at what he does. But yeah,
I mean,
he blew up
some
insanely
videos.
fast.
The conspiracy theory iceberg, that's like 6-hour long video.
Yeah, that's crazy. I forgot
Maybe
he made those
it might
long
be
videos.
longer.
It was longer than that. It was like 9 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah, 10 hours of content.
That's passion right there.
Yeah, if that's not grinding, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that is crazy. You kind of aspire to, like, not that I make similar content or anything, but you kind of aspire to like do what they do, because like you're like, man, they're so good at what they do that they deserve to be at the place they're at, and that kind of motivates me. It's like, yeah, I don't want to like get discouraged and stop. If you're burnt out, you're burnt out. There's nothing you can do about that. That's natural. But if you're just feeling discouraged, it's like, just look at them. It's like the stuff, like, I don't know. Yeah, they got lucky with their views, but they worked hard to begin with. So, well, guys, that's about it. Keep, if you are a creator of any kind, whether that be YouTube, art, whatever it is, anything, keep going and don't just like pretty much never completely stop. Like if you breaks are fine, obviously, but like I would say to never just stop.
Don't get discouraged. You know.
And we are grinding alongside you, as you
Yeah.
can see with our 600 subs.
Here's the thing. You could I saw a meme not long ago where it was like a guy had been mining for years, and he was one swing of his pickaxe away from all the diamonds and gold in the world, and he decided to quit right there. So if you decide to quit, your big break could have been in your next swing.
Right.
So like, you know, you might be tired, but take the chance. What is it gonna hurt to do what you were already doing?
Right, yeah. Even if it's less so, but as long as you don't stop, I think that's like golden, you know.
Yeah, and if you enjoy something, do it, and do it for yourself. Don't do
Right.
it for anyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.